welcome to Time for Time. Today I'm going to show you how to make northeastern Chinese style dumplings in 3 very simple steps from scratch. My grandma used to make when I was a little kid, and I used to make those dumpling wrappers for her, and they are really easy and you can do it too. Let's get started. If it's the first time you're making these dumplings, maybe it's easier to cut the recipe in half, and that way the task doesn't seem that daunting. To make the perfect dumpling wrapper, you want to keep the flour to water ratio around 2:1 and then add a little bit of salt. So here I have 2 cups of flour with 1 cup of water and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then mix everything well together. It's probably easier to use a pair of chopsticks or fork initially and then use your hand. You don't need to knead the dough for very long, just as long as all the ingredients are incorporated together. Cover the dough and let it rest in room temperature for 45 minutes. Once the dough is ready, take it out. Before you put it down on your working surface, make sure you dust plenty of flour. Then cut the dough into half. That way it's easier to work with. Then for half of it, just roll it out. Cut into 16 equal pieces so you can make 16 dumplings for half of the dough. I'm going to show you 2 ways to roll the dumpling wrappers. The first way is the traditional way. Dust some flour on your working surface, very important so the dough doesn't stick. Roll it out with your palm, flatten the dough, and use one hand to hold the edge of the dough, turn it, and the other hand roll it. So this is the traditional way of making dumpling wrapper. The size of the wrapper should be about the size of your palm. The thickness is about 2 credit cards thickness. You don't want it to be too thin because otherwise when you boil them, they can easily break. Plus, homemade wrapper tastes so good. When you stack all the wrappers together, make sure you dust plenty of flour in between them because otherwise they will stick together, because that's learning from experience of mine. This is another way to roll the dumpling wrapper. If the other way seems somewhat challenging, you just roll it a couple times, turn it, roll it, turn it, roll it, turn it to the desired size. Pretty easy, isn't it? And now your wrappers are done. Don't worry too much if your wrappers are not round. They taste just as good. Today we're making the very traditional ground pork celery dumplings. I added some carrots because my kids love carrots. Here I have half of it is just regular ground pork. Actually the fattier the better. And then the other 1/4 is celery and then carrots. For seasoning, we have soy sauce, ground Sichuan peppercorn, sesame oil, oyster sauce, and then some extra oil. Add extra oil if your pork is on the lean side. Stir everything together. To make a dumpling, take 1 wrapper, put 1 teaspoon of filling in the center of the wrapper, fold it, and pinch the edges with your thumbs and index fingers together, both hands. And then squeeze, squeeze, squeeze tight. If you ever made too many dumplings and you want to freeze them, you can freeze them too. You want to freeze them raw. Find a large baking sheet, dust plenty of flour, and then put a single layer of raw dumplings down. You first want to freeze them in the freezer for about 15 minutes and then transfer them to a Ziploc bag. They can be placed in the freezer for about a couple months and they still taste amazing. To cook dumplings, you want to use a large pot and about 5 cups of boiling water, and maybe put around 10 to 12 dumplings in first and then stir them out a little bit in the beginning so they don't stick to each other. Once this water is boiling, put another cup of cold water into the boiling water. This is so-called the double boiling method. And then once the water starts to boil again, cook the dumplings for about 4 minutes. So total you probably cook the dumplings around 10 minutes or so. Then you're done. You can enjoy the dumplings, or I can. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give me a like or leave me a comment below or subscribe. See you next time. Bye.